The sinister mark of the devil, unexplained horror revealed from a cursed patient's haunting tale. The air was thick with terror that night in Maplewood. Amanda couldn't shake the feeling that eyes were upon her, watching, waiting, lurking. Shadows danced in the corners of her vision as she made her way home from the late shift at the diner, the only sound the scuff of her sneakers against the cracked pavement. She knew she should feel safe in this sleepy town. But safety felt like a lie. The wind rustled through the trees, a sinister whisper of secrets long buried. Every creak of the old houses, every flicker of a light, sent shivers down her spine, and her heart raced with unnameable dread. Tonight felt different. It felt heavier. It started when she noticed Mr. Judd. That pale, gaunt figure peering from behind his drawn curtains like a ghost haunting the night. His unblinking gaze seemed to track her every move, as if he was counting the minutes until her history would meld into his. With every night that passed, the normality of Maplewood began to fray at the edges. Each crunch of leaves underfoot echoed as though 100 pair of feet stomped behind her. Surely just the wind. Or perhaps something much, much worse. Then came the phone calls. Amanda would wake from fitful sleep just to have silence greeting her ears, eyes wide with fear, feeling every heartbeat pound like a drum in the silence. Who was calling? Why? She couldn't unhear the dread that knotted in her gut, as if some monstrous force toyed with her mind. And then there were the footsteps. The unmistakable sound of someone trailing behind her. Each time she turned, nothing but empty street and flickering street lamps greeted her, casting distorted shadows that whispered of horrors unseen. Panic clawed at her throat. Lily, oblivious to her mother's mounting fears, brought home a vibrant crayon drawing one day. It showcased a symbol Amanda had never seen before, a swirling mark that seemed to pulse on the page. When asked about it, Lily innocently said, "A man in the park told me to draw it, Mama. He said it's magic." A chill ran down Amanda's spine, twisting her stomach into knots. Magic? Or something else entirely? Panic fluttered faster in Amanda's chest, but she tried to convince herself it was just a child's imagination. But the symbol returned to haunt her day and night, a grotesque something clawing at the sanity of their mundane life. Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Then came the knock, chilling and echoing through her home like the toll of a death knell. The door creaked open, revealing a man unmistakable in form and face. Dr. Collins, once revered, now a specter from her past. He stood there, calm yet wild, with piercing eyes that gleamed with a knowing light. A connection torn and frayed returned, now heavy with whispered curses that hung over Maplewood like a storm. As Amanda's pulse quickened in fear and confusion, she realized that the small-town charm was a ruse underpinned by sinister schemes and dark secrets. Were the neighbors complicit? Had they always been watching? The fear began to suffocate her as darkness clawed closer, wrapping her in its icy grip. The truth dangled just out of reach, but terror rose like a tide threatening to engulf her and Lily entirely. A sense of urgency boiled under her skin. The symbol now felt like a ticking clock, counting down. We must let him in. The echo of Lily's innocent voice morphed into a haunting command. Amanda stood frozen at the edge of the abyss, straddling the terrifying line where her motherly instincts clashed with encroaching dread. Could she save her daughter from the unthinkable horror lurking just behind the door? Time slipped away as the weight of the Maplewood curse bore down on them both, threatening to pull them into the depths of despair at any moment. Amanda's hand hovered over the doorknob, her breath hitching in her throat. The shadows seemed to stretch and claw at her, urging her to turn away, to flee. But she clutched the metal, icy against her palm, and forced herself to look into Dr. Collins' eyes, searching for answers where only darkness lurked. He smiled, but it was a grin devoid of warmth. "Amanda, he said softly, his voice a silky whisper. "I've come to help." Yet every part of her screamed that this man was not a savior but the harbinger of something far more sinister. She thought of Lily, innocent and vulnerable, curling up in their dimly lit living room, dreaming of magic and monsters. "Help?" she managed, her voice trembling. "Help with what?" "The curse," he replied, stepping forward, the light catching his wild hair, making him look even more unhinged. "You must embrace it." He gestured, his finger tracing the air as if weaving invisible threads connecting them all. "You felt it, haven't you? The weight, the shadows. They want you to remember." Amanda's chest tightened as she thought of the drawing Lily had made, the symbol pulsating like a heartbeat in her mind. The world began to spin around her, darkness closing in on the edges. "What do you mean remember? What is this curse?" A chilling breeze swept through the room, carrying whispers that seemed to wrap around her like sinister tendrils. Mrs. Hargrove's shocked face flashed in her mind, and the way the neighbors stared, those hawk-eyed glares filled with unspoken truths. "The mark reveals your true history," Dr. Collins said, his eyes gleaming with fervor. "They've always been watching, much like the mark has always been waiting. Only together can we unlock what's hidden beneath." Panic surged, fracturing her resolve. "Get away from me!" she screamed, but the ground felt unstable. Shadows shifted in the corners, dark shapes pulsing with malice. Amanda's mind raced. What did he want? Was this part of the curse? Her instincts screamed for her to protect Lily, but she felt pinned under the weight of ancient fears, as if invisible chains bound her to the ground. Dr. Collins took another step inside, relentless. "You must find the truth, Amanda. You cannot shield her from what must come." His voice dropped to an eerie hush. "The mark is calling for vengeance, and you have the power to answer." Amanda's heart pounded as the realization hit like ice water. The mark, the phone calls, the eyes that seemed to follow her, they were all connected. Were they all part of it? A network of dark interest lingering, feeding off the terror that now gripped Maplewood? "No, I won't do this," she whispered, her determination floundering under despair. "Then you'll lose her," he said, voice low but resonant. "The mark doesn't wait, and the others will come for what belongs to them." A sound broke the tension, a small voice calling from the darkness beyond the door. "Lily." Amanda's heart leaped, a desperate tug demanding her to move, to act, to protect her. She recoiled from Dr. Collins and flung the door open, ready to usher her daughter away from this nightmare, but what she saw made her blood run cold. Outside, small silhouettes gathered, their faces obscured by shadows, but it was their eyes that were terrifying, glinting like shards of broken glass. Each pair glared with an eerie familiarity, each a reflection of hidden memories and long-forgotten horrors. They whispered in unison, "The mark, it is time." The laughter of children danced past her ears, but their play felt like a horrid game, and dread seeped through her veins. Amanda turned, ready to run back inside, to shield Lily from this impending doom, but Dr. Collins was there at her heels, his hand gripping her shoulder with a vice-like strength. "Remember, Amanda, this is only the beginning." The door slammed shut behind her, as the world outside closed in like a storm. A scream clawed its way up her throat, a cry for help. But would anyone hear? The shadows moved closer, and as darkness engulfed them, Amanda realized that the curse was far older and deeper than she ever could have imagined. What had she awakened, and would it let them go? Panic surged through Amanda's veins as she was pinned between the door and the looming shadows of the figures outside. Each silhouette pulsed with a sinister energy, their whispers chilling her to the bone. The laughter echoed, yet it lacked joy. It was an eerie chorus that wrapped around her mind, tightening like a noose. "Lily." Her voice broke, desperation slicing through the thick, suffocating air. Where was her daughter? Frantic, she turned to Dr. Collins, but he stood rooted, a puppet master reveling in chaos. "Let her go!" she screamed, yanking away from his grip, every instinct telling her to protect Lily at all costs. The shadows crept closer, their eyes gleaming with expectation, as if they had been waiting, watching. The mark demands its tribute, they hissed, their voices blending into a cacophony of suspicion and malice that pressed against her like a physical force. Dr. Collins moved with a predator's grace, his smile widening. You know what has to be done, Amanda. There's no escaping what lies in your blood. You're insane. She shouted, the words barely registering over the fear clawing at her throat. But she saw it then, a flash of white within the dark swarm. It was Lily, peeking from behind one of the figures, her innocent face distorted with confusion and fear. Amanda's heart lurched, splintering at the sight. Mommy. The word floated to her like a lifeline. With newfound urgency, Amanda surged forward, pushing past shadows that recoiled as she approached her child. Lily. Come to me. As she reached for her, the figures swirled like a cyclone, black, shifting mass that threatened to swallow them both whole. No. The words ripped from Amanda's throat as she fought through the darkness, her fingers brushing against Lily's trembling arms. Just then, an icy wind blasted through, scattering the shadows momentarily. They howled, angry and distressed, retreating just long enough for Amanda to pull Lily into her arms. The girl clung to her tightly, her breaths quick and shallow. What is happening? Lily's innocent voice trembled, but before Amanda could respond, the chaos erupted anew, shadows lunging toward them, intent on reclaiming what had momentarily slipped from their grasp. Keep your eyes closed. Amanda ordered firmly, though panic rippled through her. The dark figures moved faster, swelling like the tide, voices overlapping, the mark will be fulfilled. Your time is due. You cannot escape. She squeezed Lily closer and backed away, desperate to find refuge. Dr. Collins, however, stood unfazed, the very embodiment of a nightmare. You cannot hide from your past, Amanda, he taunted. The darkness within you has awoken, and it craves. No time for fear, she thought, urgency infusing her limbs. They had to escape. The shadows circled, but there was a glimmer in the air, a portal, perhaps, a chance to flee. Run! She screamed at Lily, pushing her daughter forward, into a narrow passage she spotted behind the figures, but the moment they moved, the shadows surged forward, hunger in their creeping forms. Let me go! Amanda shouted at Collins, lunging through the swarm, a mother's instinct drumming in her chest. His laughter echoed, cruel and unwavering as the inky mass writhed like a living entity, intent on dragging them both into their dark embrace. The whispers grew louder, a sinister song laced with urgency. Suddenly, Amanda felt a sharp sting on her arm. The mark, the cursed insignia, flared to life, hot and throbbing, illuminating the darkness for just a moment. Embrace it. Collins demanded, his eyes wild, power radiating from him as the shadows withdrew slightly in reverence. Never. She barked. But deep within, she felt a ripple of sinuous power try to echo his command. With a final surge of will, she yanked Lily along, the doorway looming like an alternate reality. Would they escape the curse, or would the shadows seize them? Before the swirling figures could reform, Amanda shoved them both into the passage. But as they crossed the threshold, the world twisted, darkness folding in and crumbling the ground beneath them like ash. Amanda. Lily's voice echoed, terror wrapping around the name like a veil, and then everything went black. What awaited them in the dark, and would they ever find their way back? A weightless moment suspended in pitch black. Amanda's mind raced while clenching her daughter tightly, heart hammering against her ribcage. Fear drummed in her ears, drowning out everything but Lily's shallow breathing. What had they stepped into? The air shifted, thick and suffocating, crawling over their skin like a wet cloth. Amanda instinctively flinched, nerves jangling as she squinted into the darkness. Lily? She whispered, voice trembling. I'm right here, Mommy, Lily said, her voice barely above a whisper. But the clarity of her voice didn't ease the darkness that was now an oppressive weight, pressing around them. Suddenly, the silence shattered with a low growl, a sound that vibrated in the bones. Shadows twisted, coiling around them like serpents, slithering from every direction. "You cannot escape," they hissed, their tones dripping with malice. "What do you want?" Amanda's words came out sharp, but the fear pooled in her stomach. "Fulfillment," the shadows echoed. "The dark legacy must be fed." Panic gripped Amanda. What did it mean? She felt the mark on her arm pulse, a heartbeat of its own, scorching and hungry. It seemed to be calling out, weaving into the whispers with a sickening familiarity. A thought flickered, could it somehow be the key? "Lily," she said, forcing the words out. "We need to move. We have to find a way out." Moving cautiously, they edged forward, feet shuffling on damp, uneven ground. The oppressive whispers followed like a storm, pulsing with frustration. Each step they took felt like plunging deeper into a pit. They were not just running from shadows, they were fleeing a legacy carved into their very essence. "Mommy, I'm scared," Lily whimpered, her voice feeble in the dark. "I know, baby, but stick close to me," Amanda said, trying to infuse strength into her words as dread churned inside her. "We'll get through this. I promise." Forcing her focus on the flickering pain of the mark, she dragged Lily behind her, searching for a flicker of light or a sliver of hope. As they trudged forward, the shadows began to shift, reforming into grotesque shapes that distorted reality. Faces twisted in agony and rage seemed to emerge, reaching out with clawed fingers, as if begging for release or wanting to pull them into the depths. "No!" Amanda screamed. She twisted around, defiantly holding her ground, but time slipped through her fingers like sand. The shadows surged again, swirling with a collective urgency. "The mark will feed." The words vibrated like a death knell in the air. All at once, cold laughter reverberated around them, amplifying the terror clenching Amanda's heart. "No. No." She breathed, shaking her head violently. She could not succumb. Not now. With a desperate grasp, she reached for the mark on her arm, ignoring the pain that coursed through. "You won't take her," Amanda vowed, voice steely. The shadows recoiled momentarily, a ripple of uncertainty danced through their forms. "Embrace your destiny," the chorus of shadows murmured, now almost pleading. "Get ready, Lily," she commanded, tightening her grip once more. Then, with a sudden roar of defiance, she willed the mark to ignite, to become a beacon that would guide them out of this nightmare. A brilliant flash erupted from her arm, illuminating the space around them. The figures shrieked, thrashing as the light spread like wildfire. For a moment, Amanda felt powerful, a force against the encroaching dark. But just as quickly, the brilliance flickered and dimmed. The shadows retaliated, slamming into them with renewed ferocity, drowning out the light. Amanda stumbled back, clutching Lily, their connection faltering. "Stay with me," she screamed, fear eviscerating her, but the shadows seized her thoughts. Then, through the chaos, a glint captured her eye, a shimmer, distant but undeniable. Could it be a way out? "Lily, just hold on tight," she yelled, darting towards the glimmer situated far beyond the screaming emptiness surrounding them. But the darkness coiled tighter, fierce and malevolent, clawing for their retreat. "His mark can only live while you're alive." The shadows howled. Would they risk the leap? Or would this claim be their end? As they neared the shimmer, Amanda felt the darkness begin to tear at her mind, flickering with doubt and despair. Each step teetered on the edge of oblivion. And then, just before the light wrapped around them, everything went cold. What awaited them in the recess of the shadows? Had hope truly flickered out, or was it merely a deception, waiting to ensnare them? In the frigid void, a piercing chill clung to Amanda's skin. The shadowy curtain enveloped her and Lily tighter, a suffocating embrace that dulled all sense of direction. The flickering shimmer had vanished, swallowed whole by the darkness. "Where are we?" Amanda gasped, heart racing, eyes darting blindly in every direction. "Mommy, I can't breathe." Lily's voice trembled, breaking Amanda's heart. "Just hold on, sweetheart," she said, though despair clawed at her throat. The weight of the shadows pressed down harder, squeezing the breath from her lungs. She started to pace, each step slower than the last, fear wrapping around her like barbed wire. "Lily! Stay close!" Suddenly, a whisper slithered through the air, promising and sinister. "All who fear the dark are fated to walk its path forever." The shadows laughed, a cacophony of distorted voices, echoing with a chilling familiarity that rang in her ears. "Your mark shall lead you deeper. No. I will not surrender." Amanda screamed against the tide of despair. The mark on her arm flared painfully, illuminating her skin just enough to see the twisted contours of Lily's frightened face. At that moment, another shiver raced through the darkness, causing it to ripple with hideous excitement. The shadows twisted and shifted, coiling into grotesque figures bearing the likeness of both familiar and unknown faces. Each one seemed to whisper secrets of anguish, entreating Amanda with their empty eyes. The tears she fought began to spill over. "Do you see them, Mommy?" Lily's voice was small, trembling with fear. "They look like people who need help." "No. No one will help us." Amanda snapped, dread clawing at her sanity. The shadows were liars, real enough to provoke confusion, designed to prey on her vulnerability. "We have to go. It's the only way." Just as she turned to push forward, something caught her eye, a flicker of light in the distance. It wavered, beckoning with a seductive pull. "Lily! Look!" she shouted, the urgency building in her chest. "This way!" They sprinted together, the mark pulsating against Amanda's arm as if it had a heartbeat of its own. Each stride felt like an eternity, shadows reaching for them, tendrils clawing at their clothes, but she refused to look back. "Mommy!" Lily yelped, tugging on Amanda's hand. "They're getting closer." The laughter echoed, taunting, a dark symphony of despair. "It will never end, Amanda. Your blood feeds us. Embrace your fate, child." "No. We are not theirs," she cried, pushing that dark vision away. They surged forward, and Amanda promised herself that she would keep Lily safe, would find a way to break this curse whatever it took. Finally, they plunged into a small alcove bathed in dim, azure light that pulsated like a heart. It felt alive, a stark contrast to the relentless shadows. But as she pressed forward, the light dimmed with each step they took. Desperation knotting in her stomach, the realization struck her this was no sanctuary. "Mommy?" Lily whispered, clutching her arm tighter as their refuge began to fray at the edges. The dark began to stretch itself towards them, reaching out, eager to pull them back. Amanda's breath caught. "We have to fight it, Lily. We have to." But before she could finish, the darkness surged, fierce and relentless, an avalanche tumbling toward them. The weight of despair pressed down, a living entity engulfing them whole. In that moment, a small figure emerged from the shadows, a flicker of defiance that made Amanda's heart stutter. "You both belong here." With a deafening roar, the shadows converged, an echo of sorrow that felt like a scream. Amanda felt her resolve splintering as time stretched and crumbled. "What does it want? What is its price?" She gasped into the dark whirlpool. The figure stepped closer, shrouded in shadows but glowing with an unearthly light. "You will know soon enough." The darkness wrapped around them once again, dragging them toward the abyss. As the last remnants of light faltered, she couldn't shake the nagging thought, could she truly escape this evil, or had she already sealed their fate by merely stepping foot into this nightmare? Would answers lie in the haunting figure, or only more horror await them when the walls of darkness finally closed in? The shadows collapsed in a violent whirlwind, clinging to Amanda and Lily like a shroud that had come alive with wrath. Amanda's heart raced, pounding furiously against her chest, each beat a desperate call to survive. "Lily, hold on!" she cried, as the cold fingers of the dark reached past her, trying to snatch her daughter away. Lily whined softly, "Mommy, it's so cold, I don't want to go." "No, we're not going anywhere. Stay with me," Amanda urged, pulling the little girl closer. The oppressive gloom seemed to throb with darkness, morphing malevolently into a swarm that buzzed around them, hungry and eager for their despair. The flickering figure stood amidst the chaos, observing with penetrating eyes that pierced through the veil of shadows, igniting a flicker of hope in Amanda's heart. "Help us!" she shouted, both a plea and a demand, but the figure remained silent, encased in the swirling dread. "Your fear feeds them," the figure finally spoke, voice echoing like a forgotten whisper. "It binds you to this place, binds you to me." "Who are you?" Amanda demanded, her voice rising with indignation. "What do you want?" "We didn't ask for this." "Neither did I," it replied, a sadness lingering in its tone. The shadows twisted around the figure, but it began moving toward them, forming a path through the chaos. "But you seek to escape. The shadows thrive on your fear. Only when you face it can you be free." "Face what?" "We can't stay here," Amanda shouted, the words slipping from her mouth like a desperate chant. She glanced at Lily, whose eyes shimmered with confused terror. "You don't know what it's like. We're scared. All we want is to go home." "Home," echoed the shadows, their voices rising in a haunting hymn. "What is home but a fleeting memory, a promise that cannot be kept?" Suddenly, the oppressive cold lessened, a subtle shift, as the shadows paused, intrigued by the figure's quiet strength. Amanda's heartbeat slowed, but a gnawing panic clawed at her stomach. Could she truly find a way out? The figure stepped closer, its features melting into clarity while still draped in darkness. It was a child, no older than Lily, with eyes that glittered like shards of glass. "Your connection gives you power," it said, almost tenderly. "You must confront what you fear the most." Lily clutched Amanda's arm tighter. "Mommy, what does it mean?" "It means," Amanda hesitated, her thoughts twisting against her resolve. "It means I have to face my fear for both of us. I won't lose you. I can't." The shadows shuddered, a ripple of discontent coursing through them. "To confront is to know," the creature continued, "and what you know can free you or destroy you." The darkness writhed, a beast awakening from slumber, eyes of shadow flicking toward them as if sensing her wavering immensity. The laughter crescendoed, echoing through the hollow void. "Mommy, I'm scared." Lily whimpered, tears spilling over her cheeks. "I know, darling," Amanda choked back her own fear. "But we're strong. We can't let them win." The figure nodded slowly. "Then you must journey inward. Accept the mark on your skin. It binds you, but it can also be your strength." Amanda looked down, the mark on her arm glowing with a haunting warmth, a stark reminder of her past. It pulsed, resonating with the panic that roiled inside her. Acceptance, she thought. Could it be that simple? Before Amanda could speak, the shadows surged forward, howling like a storm. "You will never escape. You belong to us." Their icy fingers clawed for her, for Lily, eager to claim their next victims. "No." Amanda howled, instinctively placing herself between the darkness and her daughter. Determination poured into her veins, igniting a fire that threatened to consume her. "Embrace it," the child whispered urgently. "Let it guide you." Taking a deep breath, she squeezed Lily's hand and centered herself. "Together, Lily. We're in this together." And in that moment, the mark on her arm flared with a sapphire light, illuminating a path beyond the opulent darkness. What awaited them at the end, she couldn't tell. But the shadows held their breath, watching. Waiting for the courage they both would require. Amanda's heart raced. "Let us go." But just before they took a step forward, a deeper shadow materialized, merging from the chaos like a great, black wave. "You think you can escape?" it thundered. "Your fate was sealed long before you arrived here." As the dark smothered the light, Amanda felt the weight of despair descend once more, and she realized only one question remained: would courage break the chains of fear or tighten their grip forever? The shadow loomed, a towering silhouette that oozed menace with each terrible word. It swirled with darkness that dripped like ink, as if reaching out with tendrils meant to ensnare them both. Amanda could hardly breathe, a suffocating dread wrapped around her throat like a noose. "We can't let it win, Lily," she hissed, forcing her voice to remain steady against the crushing panic rising within her, but Lily whimpered again, the sound breaking Amanda's heart. "Mommy, it's so big." "No, it's just a shadow," Amanda insisted, fighting to drown her own fear. She squeezed Lily's hand harder, willing her own strength to seep into her daughter. "We have to keep moving." As they stood firm, the mark on Amanda's arm pulsed violently, its sapphire glow flickering like a dying flame. It felt both like a blessing and a curse, gnawing at her with memories she wished to forget. The laughter of the shadows shifted to a low growl, reverberating through the void, ready to consume. "You think you can defy us?" The dark entity mocked, its voice thick and poisonous. "You carry your fear like a prize, how delicious." "Mommy!" Lily cried out, tears streaming, but Amanda couldn't let doubt slip in. She could almost hear the terror threading its way through her daughter. "We're strong, remember?" she murmured, more to herself than to Lily, pulling the child into her embrace, into a shield forged from love. Before Amanda could gather courage, the creature lunged. It lashed out, a whirlwind of cold despair, intent on tearing them apart. Amanda pushed forward, instinct guiding her feet along the platform of light the mark was forging. Each step felt like running through thick molasses, the shadows trying to pull her back as she cried, "We're coming through." In that instant, the sapphire light flared, sinuous beams cutting through the darkness like lightning through a storm. The figures in the shadows shrieked, recoiling from the light. Amanda and Lily stumbled ahead, fueled by desperate hope, but beyond the veil, she felt a darkness more profound. A new fear settled in her stomach like lead. As they fled, the shadows shifted, rearranging to reveal an impossibly sinister truth that felt nauseating. Flickers of eerie scenes danced along the edges, memories unwound, glowing amidst the tumultuous sound. Faces twisted in horror, screams of lost souls trapped within the grasp of the darkness filled her ears. "We have to look away," she shouted, feeling the pull of the memories threaten to trap her as well. "We can't let them in." "Mommy, what is happening?" Lily trembled, her voice trembling as she clung tightly. "I don't know. But we can't turn back." With every ounce of will, Amanda focused on the path forged by the mark. She shut her eyes against the encroaching visions, and whispered strength into her palm, "This is not our fate." As they surged ahead, the shadowed maelstrom erupted in fury. "You will never escape your past," it roared, echoing like thunder, as the shadows writhed and coiled around them, a monstrous serpent encircling prey, but Amanda felt determination blossom, each heartbeat echoing in her ears like a war drum, sparking her resolve. "We will break ourselves free." Suddenly, in the midst of the chaos, a soft voice reached out, barely a whisper but louder than the tumult. "Trust in the light." It remembers before Amanda could react, the sapphire mark exploded in a blinding flash. An intensity she never felt enveloped them, washing the darkness away in feral waves. But as the light pulsed, the shadows writhed in protest, dark faces forming grim masks just beyond the glow. They flickered, moments of agony captured by the light flashing all around them, haunting echoes that knotted in Amanda's throat. She felt Lily's grip loosen, a haunting habit forming in the corners of the shadows. "Amanda," a voice long forgotten and cold. She tried to hold her daughter desperately, but a chilling gust shoved against her, the familiar laughter morphing into a terrifying crescendo. Just as they prepared to flee, there it was again, the undeniable feeling of someone watching. "Who are you?" Amanda screamed into the darkness, demanding her answer. The responded silence sent chills down her spine, as the shadows paused, the air thick with malice. "It's not over." And in that moment, the question clawed at her insides. Who, or what, haunted them from deep within the shadows? Would the light guide them to safety, or were they merely walking into a deeper, darker nightmare? The light blazed around them, a brilliant cocoon that cut through the oppressive shadows. Amanda blinked, heart racing, her instincts caught between fight and flight. Could they escape? Was the light its own trap, luring them deeper into horror? Lily slipped from her grasp, the energetic heat of her presence dimming in the chaos. "Mommy! Where are you?" Her voice echoed, far too small and fragile against the cacophony of shadows writhing nearby. The air crackled, vibrating with the weight of darkness, a palpable threat that loomed over them. "Lily!" Amanda screamed, pushing against the blinding light, its strength disorienting. She couldn't see only dazzling white and creeping black. "Look beyond." The ghostly whisper pierced through the noise again, stronger this time. "The truth in the depths." Amanda's chest constricted. The memories flickered and danced just out of sight, specters caught in the void, swirling closer, revealing glimpses of heartache she couldn't forget. Each particular memory felt like barbed wire, cutting deep as they beckoned her with alluring promises of understanding, of answers. "No." She growled, shaking her head violently, battling the surge of the past that fought to pull her in. The mark pulsed against her skin, furious and alive, almost sentient. With every throb, it whispered curses and truths, a dangerous duality entwined with her fate. Amanda could feel the weight of 1,000 regrets pressing down upon her, but she had to focus. The last glimmer of Lily's presence flickered like a candle in a storm. "Mommy, please." Her daughter wailed, a cry soaked in desperation. Amanda lunged toward the sound, forcing herself onward, away from the promises laid forth by the shadows. The light pushed back against the omnipresent darkness, but perilously so. The wrestling fight felt tangible, like drowning in biting cold water. Yet hope sparked somewhere inside her, a mighty force that spurred her legs to move. With a last heaved breath, Amanda broke through the veil of shimmering light, crashing into an unfamiliar scene. It felt like being thrust into another world. They stood in a vast, stone chamber that felt as cold as the depths of fear itself. Terrible murals covered the walls, grotesque depictions of agony and suffering etched in black and red. Faces twisted in torment stared at her through the shadows, eyes hollow with despair. It seemed a prison of tormented souls, locked in an eternal dance of anguish. "Mommy?" Lily whimpered again, her small hand now reaching out toward a flickering silhouette among the ruins. Over there Amanda's heart went cold. A figure materialized from the darkness, tall and thin, limbs elongated like old skeletal tree branches. The figure bore a head that flickered in and out, a void filled with jagged teeth and glaring white eyes that gleamed like stars in an abyss. "Welcome home," it hissed, voice slithering around them, wrapping tightly around Amanda's neck like the noose of dread. "Did you think you could outrun your truth?" "No." Amanda thought, panic surging once again. Lily was fading, she felt it like a vice, twisting and squeezing until breath itself became a struggle. "Lily!" Amanda screamed, bracing as she stepped closer, shielding her daughter with her body. "We can't let it win." But the shadows lurked, slinking around in tail, tendrils stretching toward them, dire whispers trailing like fog through the chamber. They carried secrets Amanda never wished to uncover, but, beneath the horror, a pulse of hunger grew, cold laughter echoed, wrapping around her mind in a horrifying symphony. She stood at the edge of her own nightmare, heart pounding, voice trembling. "Only the truth can free us." The figure grinned, mouth stretching wider in an impossible way. "Are you brave enough to see?" Terror clawed at her throat, but she gritted her teeth, refusing to yield. Was this the price of survival? Did she dare confront the darkness inside? She turned to Lily, who trembled and looked up with wide eyes filled with confusion and fear. "I want to let them take you. I'd rather face whatever this is." But shadows began to whirl around them, the room vibrating with overwhelming malevolence. In that moment, dread sank deeper like a stone, heavy and suffocating. Suddenly, the room twisted, shifting dangerously, pulling Amanda and Lily away. Cold hands grasped her shoulders, chilling her to the marrow. "Help me, Mommy." Lily's voice pierced the fog. Caught in a spiraling chaos, Amanda screamed into the darkness. What do you want from us? Many things, the figure whispered, merging back into the shadows, eyes bright and unfathomable as they vanished. But first, you must choose abruptly. The chamber split apart like a cracked mirror, revealing endless corridors of darkness. Each path led deeper into horror, each choice echoing with consequences long understood. Would they forge ahead together into these new unknowns, or would the shadows swallow them whole? The question loomed, lingering amidst unfathomable dread, as both fear and fate crept deeper into the void. Amanda's breath caught in her throat as she stumbled into one of the countless hallways stretching out before her. Vague shapes loomed just beyond her vision, coiling and twisting like smoke. Shadows danced with a life of their own, whispering wicked secrets that sent ice through her veins. She turned sharply, scanning for Lily, but only found silence echoing back, thick and suffocating. "Lily!" she called, terror gripping her chest. The darkness was a living entity, breathing and seething, wrapping around her in a cruel embrace. A small figure appeared at the end of one corridor, bathed in a faint, flickering light. It flickered again, uncertainty bleeding into reality. Amanda's heart thundered as she raced toward it, desperation clawing at her insides. The world around her morphed, ancient stones seeming to shift and writhe beneath her feet, each step heavier than the last as if trying to pull her back. "Mommy!" The voice was a whisper, a thread woven through the fabric of darkness. "Stay there, Lily. I'm coming." But as Amanda drew nearer, the distortion grew sharper, the air thick with a miasma of dread. Her daughter's silhouette swayed, tapering into the grotesque shadows that flickered on the edge of Amanda's vision. For a moment, the light twisted, revealing monstrous features lurking just beyond her grasp. "No!" Amanda screamed, pushing harder against the living gloom. A sense of wrongness flowed through her like poison, wrapped tight around her heart. Each heartbeat was a countdown, ticking towards something incomprehensible. The walls pulsed, throbbing as if the chamber were a beating heart. From the corners, glowing eyes emerged, narrowing into cold slits that watched with hungry anticipation. What had she stumbled into? A loud crash echoed behind her, a door slamming shut, her last escape route sealed. The figures in the shadows surged forth, grotesque faces contorting with malicious delight. They reached for her, fingers extending like brittle branches, eager to ensnare her in their grasp. "Help me, Mommy!" Lily wailed again, her voice ringing hollow against the chaos. "Hold on!" Amanda screamed back, but dread seeped into her veins, threading through her very being. Suddenly, Amanda felt it, a pulse emanating from her own skin, the mark burning hotter than a brand. Visions enveloped her senses, flashes of memories, fragmented and disjointed. A childhood face twisted into a snarl, a fleeting glimpse of joy shattered, replaced by the specter of betrayal. Horrific laughter echoed around her, wrapping tighter, drowning out her thoughts. "Only the truth can set you free." The voice of the skeletal figure echoed, resonating in her mind like a wicked chant. "No!" Amanda's voice cracked, forcing her feet to move. She glanced towards the source of Lily's cries, staggering toward the flickering light that was now just out of reach. The air around her thickened, the shadows closing in, breathing down her neck. A clatter broke through the heavy silence, a shelf teetered then crashed, revealing a doorway hidden behind. With little time left, Amanda threw herself against the door, praying for it to yield. As the wood groaned in protest, she caught a glimpse of a shadowy figure slinking behind Lily, its crooked smile widening with each passing second. Time stretched cruelly as she banged her fists against the wood, panic surging anew. "Lily! Please!" The door finally creaked open, a blinding light pouring through. The darkness screeched as the light touched it, recoiling in agony. Amanda grabbed her daughter, pulling her close as they burst into the light, but not before the tendrils of shadow lashed out, desperate to grasp any part of them. "Step into the light!" The spectre commanded in a voice deep and rattling, almost unbearably close. And just as they crossed the threshold, Amanda felt the weight of the mark on her skin grow unbearable. An insidious voice whispered in her ear, full of promises laced with poison, "You cannot escape what you are." With a horrifying jolt, the light fractured, scattering like glass underfoot, and the world bent around them once more. But this time it was different, an eerie silence settled as they teetered on the edge of a new abyss. Where are we? Lily's voice trembled, filled with confusion, that S when Amanda noticed. They weren't in a stone chamber anymore. They stood at the mouth of a vast void, pulsing with deep, throbbing darkness, whispering secrets of the lost. Which path will you choose? Echoed the taunting whispers behind them, waiting, hungry. Amanda's heart thundered with dread. The vast empty stretch before them was not empty, it was alive. As she glanced at the different passageways ahead, uncertainty curled like smoke in her stomach. Mommy. Lily's hand clutched tighter, trembling. What lay ahead? So many paths, each leading deeper into the unknown. The right choice could mean salvation, the wrong one could spell doom. Do we turn back, or plunge forward into the darkness? The question hung in the air as the shadows swirled around them, pulling Amanda and Lily back towards the familiar terror, and they hovered in the decision, hearts racing. The darkness seemed to breathe around Amanda and Lily, suffocating and alive, as dread churned in Amanda's stomach. She glanced down at her daughter, whose eyes shone with a mix of fear and trust. We have to choose, Lily, Amanda said, her voice a whisper barely audible over the eerie silence. The shadows tightened, whispering promises that sounded like nightmares. Only one path leads to safety, only one will set you free, their voices hissed, intertwining, wrapping around the corners of Amanda's mind. With every passing second, the feeling of being watched grew, as if the very walls craved her attention. What if we pick the wrong one? Lily's innocent voice trembled, and Amanda felt a tightness in her chest as reality crashed over her. She crouched down, meeting her daughter's terrified gaze. Listen to me, sweet girl. No matter what happens, I will protect you. We'll find a way out together. Taking a deep breath, Amanda steeled herself. She could feel the weight of the mark on her skin pulsating, almost alive, as she contemplated the paths before them. Each one pulsed with an eerie light and dark promise. One led to a faint flicker twitching uncertainly while another seemed to call out with the confidence of something ancient and malignant. Suddenly, memories flooded her mind. Those children in the park, their laughter echoing too sweetly, too dangerously. The Mark's connection to everything that had happened, the whispers, the eyes on her. Biting her lip, she recalled the words of the skeletal figure, face your truth. She straightened, resolve hardening. We choose the path we trust, Lily. Follow my lead, and hold my hand. With a swift motion, she slipped her fingers around Lily's and took a step toward the corridor draped in flickering light. The other passageways hissed in protest, shadows darting at their heels, clawing like frantic shadows of the past. That as they moved deeper into the light, Amanda felt the darkness recoil, though it whispered now in a more sinister tone. You cannot leave, the curse is yours. But Amanda pressed forward, refusing to let fear dictate their fate. With each step, the warmth of the light around them grew until, at last, they entered a room that felt like standing at the center of a great sun. Gold and amber glows enveloped them, pushing shadows back toward the edges. Shelves filled with ancient tomes lined the walls, each bound in dark leather and etched with silver sigils. A warmth resonated here, but with it came a serenade of caution, muffled cries threaded between echoes, as if they belonged to the countless souls trapped behind the shadows. Mommy! What is this place? Lily asked, wide-eyed, her grip tightening. It's a library of sorts, I think. A place of knowledge, Amanda replied, scanning their surroundings, desperately looking for a hint of safety. Maybe the answers we need are here. Amanda led Lily further in, her heart racing. She picked up a nearby book, dust clinging to its spine. As she opened it, the text appeared ancient and familiar. The mark, she whispered, it speaks of a past long buried in Maplewood. Of sacrifices made and debts never settled. Mommy. Look. Lily pointed toward a mural that loomed on a far wall, depicting a family shrouded in despair, their faces etched with loss. There it was, the swirling mark. It's the same. Yes, Amanda breathed, recognition flooding her. This was the key. It connects the curse with our family. It reveals the truth of those sacrifices. We must learn them, break the chains, and fulfill what is owed. But shadows lingered at the edges of the light, growing restless. You think you can rewrite fate? They hissed. Foolish mother, you're playing into our hands. No. Amanda shouted, moving instinctively to shield Lily. I will not let you take her. The mark throbbed, guiding Amanda's every thought. The circle must be completed, its voice echoed within her mind. Only then will it be broken. Understanding surged with sudden clarity. We have to finish what was started, she said, turning toward the mural as the shadows shrieked. To free those souls. Trapped, to release the debt, we must be brave enough to confront what happened to us. Together, Mommy, Lily said, her tender voice grounding Amanda against the chaos wrapping around them. Yes, together. With arms around Lily, Amanda stepped in front of the mural. Memories began to swirl, images of love, loss, desperation, and a dark choice made long ago rippling in the light. The haunting past that echoed in the mark now turned palpable, seizing her grip. We face it now. Amanda shouted, heart pounding. We will finish what was started. At that moment, an explosion of brilliance erupted from the mural, splintering the darkness with radiant light. Shadows shrieked, twisting and jerking as the walls around them shattered. No. They cried, shriveling as the light overtook them. In that blinding moment, Amanda felt herself being pulled into the surge, a monumental burst of clarity, memories crashing like waves. She saw it, the choice that had been denied, the burden of pain, the cycle of fear. And at the center was love, forgiveness, and the resolve to end the darkness. We break it. We release them. She cried, the mark glowing fiercely against her skin, the pulse of hope driving them forward. The shadows crumbled like ashes, the scream echoing into nothingness, and then, in a moment both terrifying and beautiful, the light consumed everything around them. Finally, they blinked and found themselves back in Maplewood, shadows retreating, the night calm as if nothing had ever happened, the air lighter. Lily, bright-eyed, looked around. We're home, Mommy, she whispered, small fingers interwoven with Amanda's. Hearts racing but tempered by the knowledge of their journey. Amanda squared her shoulders. Yes, we are. We faced our truth. The shadows may remain, but never again will they rule over us. As the darkness of Maplewood faded behind them, a soft breeze carried the laughter of children echoing in the distance. Peace washed over the tiny town, hinting that perhaps the curse had been transformed into a lesson in strength and love. For Amanda and Lily, it was an ending. For others, it would be an awakening. But for them? They had rewritten their story, and as they walked hand in hand, hope flickered brighter than the past ever could. Now that you've reached the end of this chilling tale, you need to subscribe now. Don't miss out on the next exclusive stories. Smash that like button to feed the algorithm and help us grow. Flood the comments section with your thoughts and reactions. What do you think about the ending? Lastly, instantly share this video with 5 friends who need to see this thrilling conclusion. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait even one more second.